You're listening to the Bored to Death Bingecast, talking TV shows and movies in easily digestible chunks. Hello again, ladies and gentlemen, and other assorted gender assignations. Welcome back to the Bored to Death Bingecast. I am Jay, being joined by
Sam
and
Roby.
And we are here to begin our Bingecast for Cowboy Bebop, the Netflix live-action remake.
Finally,
one of the all-time best animes ever. I would say.
I'm not even gonna have to even guess on it. I put this up there on a pillar with some super high-end classics like Akira.
Yeah.
I mean, damn.
Great music, great characters.
The music, the characters, every single story that was written for it was not in any way, shape, or form boring. Everything kept you, like, totally locked in.
Mm-hmm. Let's hope this show does the same thing.
Yep. I mean, the Lost Session that was released on online to sort of give a glimpse of what you can expect in the series. That helped sell me more than anything.
Yeah, I mean, based on all the stuff that they showed us just for trailers leading up to it, my hopes are they're at the medium range.
Right.
Now,
because
Cowboy Bebop though is the side story. You have music that fits that story so perfectly it's like that is 100%. That's 100% of the 200% driving the story together. Right. So you have to have.
But at the same time, we have to be a little bit cautious because the last time Netflix did a live-action anime adaptation, we got Death Note.
It's getting a sequel, by the way.
Right.
Because
the Death Note. Actually, the Death Note fans really loved it. The rest of the world was like, huh?
But yeah,
it was a perfectly decent Final Destination ripoff. Though it was a book, not the Reaper, so or Death himself.
Yeah, but yeah, Cowboy. We're not going to go through the whole season in one go because. There's 10 episodes of like 45 minutes or longer. We're not going to do it in all.
We're going to give this more of a first take.
Yeah, first take. We're going to cover like the first 2 episodes because the first episode alone I've heard is like more than an hour long, and the second episode's like 45 minutes. So we're going to touch on the first 2 episodes.
Get a feel
for it. Chris would be here, but the work monster has hold of him. And so, we will get him in on a future edition of the Bingecast for Cowboy Bebop and get his impressions of what he thinks of it. We may play around with our format a little bit as well, but that's for later. But we are going to be going through this whole thing. I really, really enjoyed the Cowboy Bebop anime. I was always looking forward to when it was released on DVD, so I could get the next one for my collection. I'm really looking forward to the Pierrot Lefaux episode because I know they're adapting that one because that's just one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah, he's in there, and
Mushroom Samba is also one.
Mushroom Samba is a must.
Anything you're looking forward to in this, Sam?
I don't know if I saw anyone credited as Ed.
No, they're purposely keeping Ed a secret. You have to watch to see. And I'm kind of glad because, yes, when you get to Ed must be Ed.
Right.
If you don't have Ed correctly, you've already
screwed up. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that may be why they sort of kept it in check because it may be a case of they casted for ability over appearance. They, sometimes they'll do that when they're adapting these things. It's like, that's not how they're depicted in the original adaptation. okay.
Okay.
But
again,
Yeah, Light Turner.
So I'm like the criticism that was starting to flow on Faye, but at the same time I'm like, well, Faye was really wearing something in the anime that just really can't translate
into live action. Right.
I don't know about that. Have you been to a convention?
There's a difference between wearing something just wandering out on the con floor for maybe an hour or two,
and actually
versus
having to move
and act
perform in it.
And perform in it. Yeah.
I can change material.
Yeah, but it comes down to how practical is it long term on a shoot for a series like this.
Because I can guarantee you, if they did that, we would be watching a NC-17.
But at any rate, it's when this was first announced, I was like, ooh. But then I remembered Death Note exists, so cautiously. I'm interested. You have my interest, but I'm not having high hopes. Then some of the pictures started coming out, and then they released the opening. I'm like, okay.
When they told me that John Cho was going to be Spike Spiegel, I was already fine with that.
Yep.
Yeah, and people are like, "But he's not young." Shut up. Just shut up. John Cho is perfectly fine as Spike Spiegel.
And also, when it comes to characters in various animes and stuff, you have these like 17-year-olds that have like the sort of combat experience that one normally gets in like a couple of decades. It's like, it's not realistic. I know they're trying to basically establish this is how good this person is, but it's like, no. You're going a little bit too far with it.
You went way over top.
Right. So them aging up Spike maybe a little bit so that he can have this complex backstory.
Because, I mean, he's doing Bruce Lee's fighting style, Jitsu. So, yeah. And, I mean, John Cho with the extra lift to actually study it. And, hey, I'm giving him all the respect for that.
This. Yeah.
And, I mean, of course, I like the casting that they did. So I'm waiting with bated breath for it.
Yeah, and I'm not expecting the entire series to be in the vein of exactly spot on, exactly how it was in the anime. I'm not expecting it to be exactly like the Lost Session in every single episode. But if they do that for scene transitions and some of the combat sequences, I'm all for that.
Yeah,
it felt very Sin City-esque, the Lost Session, and I'm okay with that. The first Sin City movie was fantastic, but I think that'll wrap up this little intro. So, covering the first 2 episodes, we'll be back after the binge.
Hello, and thanks for listening. While we're binging, please give us a like and subscribe. If you want to reach out, do it via our social media on Facebook or Twitter at BTD_Bingecast. The Bored to Death Clan is part of the CKCC Radio family, including J Bunny's Music Hub, the Race Nerd Podcast, Real Paranormal Talk, Ranking Tracks, Motivational Moves, The A Show, Park Hopper 101, and The Nerd Table. Please consider supporting CKCC Radio on Patreon so we can continue to bring you podcast content. And now, the binge is done, so let's get to the discussion.
And we're back. Just those first 2 episodes, and already I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Yes. In case you can't tell from Rhodes' delighted laughter.
That was really worth it.
It was
so worth it.
The first 2 episodes, yeah, they're expanding a great deal on things, and including stuff that wasn't in the original anime, like Anna, the club owner. And I don't know that they ever specified what Spike's name was when he was still in the syndicate.
But he had a one.
We know that he
and Vicious had a one-word name.
Yeah,
it never was specified what it was.
Right.
So I can live with it being fearless because
it
fit.
That fits Spike to a T.
Yeah.
And John Cho 100% had Spike's attitude down.
I mean,
I like
both
the guy who
Spike
played
and
Jet.
Jet.
Yeah,
Jet was
Jet
100%.
Yeah, they had like that whole like vitriolic best buds vibe going. They're constantly arguing and bickering with one another, but they're clearly friends. They're clearly
Who's
friends.
the one that calls them an old married couple? Was that Faye at one point?
I think
in the
so.
Original series.
I think so. And like the first episode opened, the cold open to the first episode, the casino fight was amazing. Rode, you pointed out that it was like
it's the modified opening of the movie,
and it's the perfect cold opening because it introduces you to the two main characters,
how they operate.
I just noticed the Lost Session. Switch, PlayStation, Xbox.
Because we were talking about the Lost Session in our intro, and then we found out Sam hadn't seen it. You went in like as blind as possible.
Yeah, the only thing I knew was that Cho was going to play Spike, and I was like, all right, I'm fine with this.
And so he hadn't even seen the opening credit sequence, which they also had released prior to the show's release, just to get people hyped. And it was like 100% perfect, because if they had tried to make the series without Tank as the opening credit sequence, it was a failure. Yeah,
it would have tanked.
Yep, it is one of the best all time anime openings.
I'm still just curious why the hell it's got such a bad score. We've discussed that before.
Yeah, we've discussed critics and why you shouldn't ever listen to their opinions. But yeah, the first episode hit basically the same beats as the first episode of the anime with Asimov and the red eye and everything.
It was a beautiful live action.
They introduced Faye a little earlier than in the original, but
damn, she's still Faye.
That's 100% still Faye.
She dropped lots of F-bombs.
Yep, they're dropping F-bombs and everything all over the place in this, and I'm fine with it. There were a lot of times when I was like, it's like we're watching a live-action Sin City, and in terms of some of the choreography and the cinematography at times. And the first episode with the fight with when Asimov is doped up on the red eye in the bar and goes on his rampage. What did you say about it, Sam?
I said about what now?
When Asimov was going on the red eye rampage in the bar.
Oh, I said something along the lines like, oh man, he was getting shots. I was just playing Halo, so I was like, oh, he's got some overshield. Then you mentioned...
I was like, no, it's more like he grabbed the Berserk pack from Doom. Just tanking gunshots and beating people to death with his bare hands.
Overall, it changes a few things, but the changes still fit right into the very session.
And they gave more details on Vicious and Julia.
Yeah.
When in the second episode, we basically, because Vicious had been dealing red eye behind the Syndicate elders' back, well, they didn't take that very well.
No.
And I'm not gonna. We're not gonna spoil exactly what happened during that scene, but it gives context. It gives context.
Very good context as to where they are when you see them later.
And it explains why later in the series, Vicious is going to basically launch a coup and take over the Syndicate for himself, and also gives context into why Julia would leave him and go back to Spike.
Right. Which never was explained in the anime, but you know what? I'm fine with the explanation in here because it fits perfectly.
And the anime, despite the fact they'd given all these characters backstory, never really gave you full details on any of it. It left you guessing for so much of it, and it was fine for that. But I like them giving context.
Like right off the bat, the reason Jet is so adamant about getting some of these bounties. He's trying to buy his daughter a birthday gift.
And not just any birthday gift.
But it's very
specific doll. It's a very specific doll.
That is the end thing for... And so it's just like,
yeah.
Are you going to deny me my daughter's birthday gift?
You told me that my daughter's not allowed to have a birthday.
Yeah. when he guilted Spike with that, I was like, wow.
I was like, maybe not get her that doll.
The only real quibble that I had with anything so far is in episode 2. It opens with them on Venus trying to track down the Teddy Bomber.
Okay.
And
I'm sorry.
What?
I have to interrupt because I started to look at audience reviews, and this person's got a screw loose. 0.5 star. The worst live-action anime I've ever seen in my life. Yes, even worse than Dragon Ball Evolution.
Okay. First of all, fuck off.
That's a troll. There's
troll.
no way that's a legit review from an audience member. Yeah, okay, sure.
Troll.
Ooh, did you really watch Dragon Ball Evolution? Did you really?
Yeah.
Did you really?
Can they redo that, please?
No. Just let it die. Let it die. If you're gonna do another live action Dragon Ball adaptation, make it a proper one. Don't whatever that was not Dragon Ball.
It's like someone took the idea of Dragon Ball Z and then took it and go, we already had a script for something else. Let's just do one of these.
Let's just cram it in there.
Let's do.
And it's not like Hollywood hasn't done that, where they've taken a somewhat mediocre script and just slapped some franchise over top of it.
Only because it has to fit to an American audience, which is what
they wanted to set it up like Karate Kid in the future. You know how the beginning of it is. He's trying to use his ki, or did they say chi? Ki? I can't even remember. They butchered something in the very beginning.
Anyway, we're not here to talk about Dragon Ball Evolution.
He doesn't shoot the Kamehameha. He shoots air bending. Air.
Speaking of bad live action adaptations.
But hey, this is worse than all of it.
But we're not here to talk about...
Mr. Tan T.
We are not here to talk about...
We're not talking about bad adaptations.
We are here to talk about Cowboy Bebop, and so far in these 2 episodes, it is quality.
What the...
Don't stop reading...
Stop
reading the comments section.
So it's either all or nothing with this person. 5 stars for Ghostbuster, half for Eternals, half for Fauci, half for No Time to Die, and half star for Malignant.
I need to just find this person and slap him completely off the planet.
Yeah. But,
wow. He didn't like Malignant as good as that was. Wow.
I mean, I'm not a big fan of some of these things, but I wouldn't give Eternals 0.5 star.
Nah.
Wow, he's just...
Okay, but we're not here to give this guy any press, even though we're not saying his name.
I already did.
He's nobody.
Yeah.
I'm not going to repeat it, though.
There you go. But just from these 2 episodes, I am enjoying it, and
ship designs are down. I mean, even the ship that they tried to escape on was straight.
Yeah, Asimov and Katarina. Yeah.
I mean, it was such straight, pure adaptation, and
they had the 3 old dudes.
They had the
3 old dudes,
and I'm just
and
yes.
and Punch and Judy, the bounty hunter show.
That Teddy Bomber reminded me of a Borderlands character. I don't know why.
Just because he was like unintelligible and he's in his underwear.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was basically like one of the like a psycho, shooting McFace,
like one of the bosses.
Yeah.
Where they give you like
Teddy Bomber.
And the thing about it is, this is not the last...
Blue sky if you can't find the Ichabod!
This is not the last time we run into him, because, well, in the anime, we run into him again. Same ship, except it's with the Heavy Metal Mama. So,
yeah.
We know he's coming back. He just doesn't seem to know when to stop being stupid.
Yeah, but the expansion that they're doing with giving characters backstory, introducing some characters a little bit earlier than usual, zero problems with that.
No, I have no problem with it because, again, they do need to, like, add some extra time on the episodes, and what better way than to
And
make
really,
sure
if-
that you know why everything happens.
And here's the thing: if it had been a shot-for-shot live-action remake of the first 2 episodes with nothing additional to it, that would have been fine. I would have been slightly disappointed, though, that they didn't try something different. That's always how I felt when it comes to remakes. You know, if you're doing
remakes, remasters, reboots.
well, no, remakes specifically. Remakes specifically. If
Or
you're doing a
adaptations.
shot-for-shot remake, then
Why not watch
and you're
the
not
original?
changing anything, then you're basically saying the first movie was perfect the way it was. And
The only thing I could think of when you do something like that shot for shot, what can you bring to the table to make it new or better? Modernize it and use better graphics if it used CG before.
Right.
Or if it used crap CG before, either use better CG now or practical effects.
Right. It's like if you're doing the same thing with a bigger budget, you know, and thus making, you know, better cinematography and things, you're still doing like
Maybe even better actors or better side character acting.
that's one thing. But at the same time, I feel like you need to sort of throw in some things to change it up, or just expand on it, and that's what they're doing here. And so far, I have no problems.
Everything I've seen so far works.
And them drip feeding Vicious and Julia in there helps. Peanut Gallery briefly pulled up the wrong thing, but it's a good way to sort of set the stage for the big confrontations between Spike and Vicious later.
Yeah.
And, oh man, I cannot wait to see that, because the fight choreographies have been good, have been very, very good.
Well, I'm now sitting, and if the episodes are planning out the way I'm seeing so far, our next episode, when we watch the next one, should be Ein, and that's gonna be hilarious.
Oh, Ein!
Oh God, is it gonna be hilarious?
Ein is what made people start falling in love with corgis. A lot of people from our generation. And Ein even gets they pay tribute to Ein and Ruby with Ruby and Yang's dog, Zwei. Which is, because Ein is one in German, and Zwei is two. But yeah, I don't really want to go into a full shot, describing what happens scene by scene kind of thing.
No.
Because we do that a bit too much. We need to discuss stuff more.
Yeah, that's why I tried to pull us out of that when we were doing the Ghostbusters.
When we did Ghostbusters yesterday, and I appreciate that. I am wanting to try to move away from just talking about stuff from scene by scene. But this was good so far.
Because we give no. If someone's watched it already, well, they're like, yeah, I understand that. I agree with that. I've heard that. I've watched it. Well, what do you guys have?
What's your opinion on stuff? Yeah, that's one reason why when you and I are doing like My Hero or One Punch Man binges, I'm taking notes, and I'll make notes to myself about stuff to discuss. Yeah. We do need to get back on that. But Cowboy Bebop so far, it's
2 episodes in. I'm already giving.
I'm sold.
2 episodes,
I'm sold.
2 thumbs up.
Definitely.
I can't wait to watch the next one. And
now, the only thing is, I wonder sometimes if you are not somebody who has seen the original anime, I don't know necessarily how it would be, how accessible it necessarily is to an outsider. That's the only thing I could. I
was going to test it out because it the way the
well,
the
I
show
actually
goes.
have somebody who has not seen Cowboy Bebop and is going to watch it all the way through.
Okay.
And I want to see I wanted to see what their thought is.
Okay.
Because number one, they are literally nothing but music. They are heavily into the music, and I'm like, I got an anime for you with some music.
There you go.
I want you to watch it and give me your take on the story and how the music went along with it. So I will let you guys know exactly what.
Awesome. Sam, you were about to say something.
I was going to say I was seeing some story beats and stuff that my mom might be interested in. If you want a completely fresh eyes on it, that's never watched the anime,
we've got two people then to.
I was gonna try to get her on it because I'm pretty sure she likes John Cho, and pretty sure she would like the story beats to it. She likes the revenge and the mystery of different shows.
Yeah.
And there's definitely elements of revenge.
You
and
got
stuff in here.
revenge. You got redemption. You got buddy cop.
No. It's not buddy cop. It's what did they
Buddy hunters?
Cop.
No. It was how did they Dick cop and asshole cop. That's right. And they weren't even trying to question him. They just started bickering with each other. But yeah, the choreography and the fight scenes, the casino fight was fantastic, and then the Asimov's Red Eye Rampage, and then the fight at the spaceport, and then in episode 2, the church fight, the church fight with the assassin out of nowhere.
I was actually wondering exactly how they were going to pull off, how they were going to do the final scene for Asimov, and you know what? I gotta admit, they nailed the whole tragic beauty of it down to a point.
As I was saying earlier, the only thing that my brain is just sort of like, wait a minute, was in episode 2, they're on Venus trying to track down the Teddy Bomber. Spike leaves to go, he tells Jet he's going to go get some noodles, but what he's actually doing is he's going to a friend of his who has an ear to the ground in Syndicate territory, and basically asks her to listen in, try to find out what's going on, because there's an assassin that was sent after him. But he meets the contact on Mars, and he leaves and comes back in his own ship, in the Swordfish. And I'm just like, that's the only thing that sort of makes me be like, how fast is the interstellar travel in this?
Pretty damn fast.
Well,
it's sometimes it just seems inconsistent, and inconsistency and that sort of thing always just bugs me.
Well, based on what it sounds like is how much you pay determines your speed.
Okay.
But they flat broke.
Yeah, that's the only thing.
Yeah. Hence why it was like, okay.
I mean, it's a relatively minor quibble, but it's one of those ones where I'm just like, my brain just won't let that go.
But again, it's one of those things of they do it in the anime.
Yeah. But again, it's just consistency and that sort of thing is all I ask for. And when you start playing around with how fast you can get from one end of the system to the other, where if it takes one person 3 days to do it, and then somebody else can do it in 2 minutes. Sorry. But how much you pay, determines your speed. I could see that, but then again, as Sam said, they flat broke.
Can't even buy a dolly.
Well, the dolly's probably ridiculously expensive. That's like trying to find a Tickle Me Elmo the year it came out in the stores, or trying to get a Beanie Baby back in the height of the craze.
Cabbage Patch Kid.
Oh
my God, my mom absolutely ruined my
LOL
stepfather's
dolls,
mind with that
Zoom
shit.
Zooms, stupid surprise eggs, Kinder bullshit.
Yeah, we just triggered.
I worked Toys R Us for 9 years.
I was about to say we just triggered Sam's retail PTSD from Jeffrey's toy box.
Furbies.
Okay, well, yeah, I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up. We're not gonna
see it.
So, yeah,
watch it.
If you are a fan of the anime, definitely watch it. If you haven't seen the anime before,
watch it.
Give it a try.
Haven't seen the anime before? Watch it.
Watch it.
Hey,
check the anime out too.
Watch the live action.
Here's what I will say.
Watch
okay, you're on the fence. You know what? Watch it for the music.
Oh,
the music will
do yourself a
land
favor.
you.
Get yourself some nuggets. Sit down and watch it.
Mm-hmm. Tank
and try not to cook the dog. Don't cook your dog.
Don't cook your dog.
Don't eat the dog.
Yeah, this isn't Excel Saga. Your dog is not not in an emergency food supply.
Isn't that why they got the dog to begin with?
In Excel Saga, yes.
I
I don't remember if that was what they were intending in Cowboy Bebop or not. But
I'm trying to remember.
It's been years since I've watched it, but I
thought Excel Saga was like parodying that
a bit. Well, Excel Saga was parodying pretty everything. Yeah, the anime parodied everything. But yes, that's going to wrap up this edition of the Bingecast. In future editions for Cowboy Bebop, we will try to get other members of the Bored to Death clan in to give their thoughts and opinions on it. Definitely Chris. We know that Chris is gonna scope it out. Maybe Zeke will scope it out. I don't know. But
me and Chris will be watching it again later tonight, no matter what. Anyway.
But yes, definitely check it out. So for Sam and the Road Pig and the Peanut Gallery, I am Jay, and we will see you next time.
Thanks for listening to the Bored to Death Bingecast. Be sure to check out our library of past podcasts via CKCC Radio or via our YouTube channel, and give us a like and subscribe. We'll see you after our next binge.